Okay, 30 seconds. Counting. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I think this is one of the last lectures for the day. It's been a fantastic day. I've been listening to some really great speakers, and today we're going to have this talk on the role of stem cells in frailty and aging. And I think this is the important area. And I'd like to introduce my good friend, Dr. Rajban Singh. And I'm not going to read his CV because I know him for more than 30 years. Rajban has been one of the early pioneers in geriatric care in Malaysia. And I think he's quite well known with his media appearances. I think he's one of the early people to establish geriatric care in the private sector, as a comprehensive and holistic approach. Rajban is a very humble and simple person, and he's passionate about his healthy aging strategies and management, and his knowledge. And he just not only preaches, but he practices what he preaches. You don't believe how he looks like a young boy, but actually I can tell you he's not that young. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Rajban Singh to share with us his insights into stem cells and on healthy aging and frailty. Rajban.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to this 10th Malaysian hybrid conference on healthy aging, and thanks to the MC for introducing me. Now, my topic is the role of stem cells in aging and frailty, right? And over the next half an hour, I will talk about something very new, something that we are hoping will help in aging, right? So before that, let me start off with this slide. Now, I always like this slide, because, doctor, the pain in my right leg is caused by old age. Why doesn't my left leg hurt? It's the same age. That's interesting, isn't it? Not only do people age differently, right? Even in our own body, some of our organs will age differently. Some of our joints, our bones will age differently. And why that happens, I think there's a combination of genes, right? But mostly it's our lifestyle. It's what we do to ourselves that makes us age differently, whether we age well or we don't age well. Now, one of the main things that we are learning in geriatric medicine or in aged care is the concept of frailty, right? Now, frailty is becoming a very big thing in the aged care world. And one of the things is that why do some people don't age well and they get a concept of frailty and sarcopenia where they lost muscle? What is frailty? Frailty is basically an age-related disability caused by, which is characterized by generalized weakness, impaired mobility, balance, poor endurance, and there's decline in physiologic reserve and loss of homeostasis, right? A multi-system reduction in physical capacity leading to loss of independence and muscle loss. Now, why is this important? Because someone who is frail is not aging well. He's degenerating faster, right? And his immune system is weak. He's having immune dysfunction, right? And that's all part of this concept of frailty. So it's not just the muscle loss, it's a completely loss of physiological reserve that is happening, and that is what is the problem, right? Today, with our current pandemic that's going on, we're seeing it more and more often that people who are frail get more severe disease, and they are the ones who succumb to the disease, right? So it's very important that we prevent frailty. Now, what is the cause of frailty? Again, a lot of people think it's our genes. Actually, genes don't play a big role. It's our lifestyle that we don't take care of from a younger age. And that's what I talk about later when I discuss about frailty, right? So this is frail, someone who is dependent, no muscle, weak, can hardly walk, and the same person will probably have organ dysfunction, right? And also have immune dysfunction. And this is what happens, you're told, whether you're a man or a female, someone wrinkled up is something that we see more and more as we get older. And that's where the concept of today, I think, in age care, we must stop looking at the age, the number. We should stop looking at the number. 65 is geriatric, 75 is geriatric. No, we stop looking at that, what I call the chronological age. We must look a lot at our biological age. The people are aging differently, right? So you might be young today, right? And you think, oh, I'm young, nothing will happen to me. But what you do today will decide whether in your older days will you end up in a nursing home where somebody has to look at you, or will you be someone like Bob Del Monte, who at 84 is still muscular and active and enjoying life, right? So it's very important that we know that lifestyle changes play a real big role in how we age, right? And one of the things that they talk about is whether not only the things like our nutrition, exercise, and all those things, but whether our stem cells that are decreasing, and whether that is one of the reasons that we go into a state of degeneration, right? And whether using stem cells to regenerate is something that was very discussed a lot today in the aged care circles. So this is what happens to most of us. Most of us in our 30s, 40s are still in the high energy, restore, repair, anabolic stage. They call it the reproductive age. But after that, we start going to catabolic. Our hormones start dropping. We get into low energy, breakdown, and if our lifestyle habits are poor, we actually get faster into the degenerative phase. And lifespans are today 70 plus, 80, right? And you end up becoming weaker and weaker. And that's where the problem is. Today, I know some of my patients, right in the 80s and 90s are active and alert and doing things and driving cars, playing golf and doing all the things they were doing when they're younger. But a lot of my patients also, the last 10, 15, 20 years are, wheelchair bound, bedridden, poor mobility, recurrent falls, Alzheimer's disease, dementias, right? Where they go into catabolic state very fast. And though they will live up to an older age of 80, 90, but it's very, very poor quality of life. And that's what we don't want. We want to be in a situation where we get rid of the catabolic state. We are high energy, we restore, repair, go right up to the old age, and one day we sleep and go to a better world. And that's what focus is, what we should be looking at, healthy aging, right? And I think our conference will be probably looking at all that, because I think the focus today should be aging well, healthy aging. What can we do to do that, right? So one of the things is, of course, to prevent frailty. Now, what are the current interventions in frailty? Important is nutrition. Nutrition plays a big role, right? Having a right nutrition. I think today we know a lot of people today, especially as they get older, their nutrition is really bad. Of course, younger time, also the nutrition isn't great today. I think a lot of us are having problems with the metabolic syndrome, and that's a huge problem by itself, right? From obesity to all the things like high cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and cancers, right? So nutrition plays a very important role. Now, one, nutrition, right amount of amino acids, right amount of fatty acids, right amount of right, not too much of refined carbs, not too much of saturated fats. Then comes exercise. Exercise, especially strengthening exercises, are really important to build up that muscle mass that we mean. Yes, we know that cardiorespiratory is good, but you also need to get the core muscles there strong. You need to get strengthening exercises, need flexibility exercises, right, to maintain, to prevent frailty. Now, a lot of people talk of supplementation. There's a whole big topic on that. People talk of antioxidants, anti-inflammatory supplements, things like Q10, right? Things like amino acid supplements, like carnitine and all that. Now, that can support. Now, what you must understand is it's just very important, because a lot of people make this mistake. You think, oh, I can supplement myself, I can do things like hormone replacement, the big thing about bioidentical hormone replacement. But this only support your lifestyle. The lifestyle is the foundation, right? So having the right nutrition, doing exercise, whatever your age is, you must exercise. Our body is like a car. You don't start a car, it will get rusty, it will go. So movement is very important, right? And supplementation and hormone replacement will then support that, right? Of course, managing your stress and sleep, all those are also part of the lifestyle, right? So bioidentical hormones, people have tried things like testosterone replacement, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA from growth hormone. I myself personally find that in the right patient it helps, but it doesn't help in all patients, right? But hormone replacements be done to someone who knows how to do that, very closely monitored. Levels must be tested, because sometimes giving too much, like, initially there's a lot of excitement of growth hormone, but giving wrong doses of growth hormone can cause heart failure, can cause heart attacks, right? Can cause water retention. So again, that must be done by someone who specializes in that. But even with all these interventions, people still find that aging comes, you still get frailty as you get older, right? So people start looking at other areas. What else can we do to prevent frailty in old age, right? And one of the things that they talked also, whether it is our stem cells. As we get older, our active stem cell population decreases in number. The ability to regenerate becomes less. So that's where the hypothesis comes. Can we give people stem cells to prevent aging? Because when you don't age well, it's actually very, very costly, right? The cost to everyone. So the healthcare is no more cheap, it's very expensive. Maintenance of people who are, frail, who are bedridden, who are wheelchair bound, who are having Alzheimer's or dementias, all these can cost a lot of money. So can we do things to prevent that? That's why the research in stem cells happen. And I think stem cells have become something quite popular, in the recent times, from even the Time magazine and a lot of scientific journals talk about stem cells. I think that is something that we are now excited about. So what are stem cells? Stem cells are actually highly plastic multipotential cells with the capacity to self-replicate. That is, they can generate all the cell types composing more specialized stem cells, and then this can actually form even an organ or tissue, right? And then they can still maintain a pool of cells like themselves for the lifetime of the individual. And that's how we, when you get a cut, it repairs itself. Why? Because stem cells come there and help to repair. So we actually, these are what our own stem cells come and repair damage that goes on in our body. But we know that as we get older, the numbers of stem cells will decrease, and also their ability to function well, because they themselves, basically get old. So they themselves can't function as well as when they were younger stem cells. So that's where the thing is, where can we replace stem cells? We call it the renewal system, right? They say it's a balance between tissue turnover and tissue repair, right? And that's what we have to balance between tissue turnover, tissue repair. And they said there must be considered for health maintenance and disease prevention two things. One is enhancing tissue repair renewal by supporting stem cell function, right? Whether giving exogenous stem cells could be one of them. And secondly, which is also very, very important, preventing condition that may accelerate cellular loss, that is by adopting lifestyle strategies, right? That support health at the cellular level. And that is very important. Whatever out there that comes, like I told you, whether it's supplementation, whether it's bioidentical hormone replacement, whether it's stem cells in the future, your lifestyle is still the key. That's the foundation. You cannot run away from that. Like having the right nutrition, getting exercise, sleep, preventing stress, all those things, preventing toxins and all going into your body. But that is the key, that's the foundation. And all this will support you. Because a lot of people make that mistake. They come to me and say, Doctor, can you give me an injection? I want to stay young, right? And I say, no, it doesn't work if you don't have a healthy lifestyle. They say, no, I don't do that. I just want an injection. No, it doesn't work that way, right? It will not work that way. Lifestyle is the foundation, that's the key, right? And all this is supported. So they talk of the 4 R's of stem cell therapeutics: replace, repair, regenerate, rejuvenate, right? And this mimic the natural events of biology. What replace? They say stem cells can actually, like diseases like Parkinson's and juvenile diabetes, and all this research is going on, right? It is still because they're looking at stem cells as like just like you look like a pharmacological drug, right? So you go to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So it takes time. And stem cells are not cheaper. So it's not cheap to do this research. So it's taking time. But they say things like Parkinson's, diabetes, right? Which result from the death or dysfunction of one of few cells, right? So they say stem cell can maybe replace these cells, maybe and offer a treatment, right? So that's one area we're looking at, whether they can replace dead cells. Second is repair, right? So can we repair disease or damaged organs, by they have isolated stem cell laboratories. So scientists have grown heart cells to repair damage from heart attacks, new liver cells to treat hepatitis, new blood and stromal cells for patients after radiotherapy. So this is again another big area we're looking at. Like I said, a lot of this research is still going on. One area that has been shown the stem cells do work, where they already products out in the stem cell products that are already out in the market. One is osteoarthritis, right? The stem cells are already countries like Korea, India, and all. They already have products that are already registered, right? That can be used for treating osteoarthritis, and second is peripheral vascular disease. These are two areas where stem cells are already um, proven to help, right? So, and that's what actually got me excited many years ago when I saw my orthopedic doctors saying that stem cell could repair the cartilage. But if stem cell can repair cartilage, then they probably going to repair other areas in the body, and that's where it's very exciting. Whether this is where by repairing we can actually slow down the degeneration and the aging process of frailty, right? We said we may be able to regenerate, right? So young stem cells might be able to regenerate damaged organs. We need to talk of rejuvenate, right? Become new healthy young cells to rejuvenate, restore, repair our older cells, and maybe other organs like your liver, brains, and organs there. But ultimately, they say hopefully one day that stem cells can rebalance the body biochemical process, right? And if that we can do that, then we don't need for classic, mostly repetitive taking injections and surgery. I think that's some time away, and I think the future will be where we are actually looking at specialized cells. That means I can actually get cells that whether they're kidney cells or liver cells or heart cells or brain, whatever, right? So I can actually take it from a bank that will have these cells, and I can actually, let's say if I have kidney problems, before it goes into kidney failure, I can actually inject the cells and hope to repair that organ, right? That's the future, right? But right now, we're still looking at whether this stem cell can actually help in preventing frailty and degeneration. Now, the study that's most quoted out there is where aging frailty is concerned is where they actually did it in University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. It was published in the Journal of Gerontology, where they used allogenic human mesenchymal stem cells infusions for aging frailty. You may go and check out on the study. And what the conclusion was that allogenic MSCs are safe and immunologically tolerated in aging frailty patients. Improvement in functional and immunologic status, right? That there should be ongoing development of cell-based therapy in treating frailty. This was what was interesting. The final conclusion was that there's improvement in functional and immunologic status. I think one of the things we know in older people is that as we get older, and especially if you're frail, one of the things that kills us the most when you're older is infections, right? Pneumonias, urosepsis, septicemias. And that's because our immune system is weak, and that's what causes more infections. So if we can use stem cells, and as the study showed, to improve not just the functional but also the immunological status, it's very, very exciting. And I think though this study was published in 2017, and I think now more and more people are really excited about whether stem cells are answer for slowing down aging process and just reducing frailty and sarcopenia in the elderly. So that's what we are hoping to look at, right? So we are putting up a study protocol. Actually, we presented one just before the pandemic started, but to go to the Malaysian Ethics Committee is not easy. You got about 40, 50 people sitting there to go through your whole study, especially this is a special ethics committee just for stem cell research in Malaysia, right? So they scrutinized everything, and then we were, because of a few things that we were not, one of the place that we were supposed to do this study, we also was some of the, whether the number of cells you're using were correct. So all those questions that we were told to go back and look up and revalue the whole study and to put up a new paper, right? But of course, then the pandemic came and everything got delayed and slowed down. So we're going to present this study, and hopefully this time you'll get the ethics approval. So basically, it's going to be a double-blind, placebo control phase 2 study, right? To look at the efficacy of intravenous MSCs in improving frailty and aging parameters in older individuals, right? Again, this is actually more of a phase 1. So initially, when we put up our study, we actually put up two primary. We had 3 objectives, and they said no. The primary objective must be to assess the safety and tolerability of allogenic mesenchymal stem cells in improving frailty and aging parameters in older individuals. So the focus should be on safety first, right? But we also hope that that being the primary objective, We know that stem cells are safe. There are already many studies going on in Malaysia itself, right? I know there are studies on OA in UK, but already gone to phase 3 or even 4, I think, I'm not sure. But we know stem cells are safe. That they are safe, right? But because we're doing it in older, frail individuals, we must make sure that they are safe in these individuals, right? But hopefully, but the study also showed the secondary objective, which is to explore the efficacy of allogeneic mesenchymal stem cells, improving the aging parameters and frailty in older individuals, and to find the appropriate dose of allogeneic mesenchymal stem cells, right? So, are the doses you're going to use, will they actually help to improve allogeneic mesenchymal stem cells? You're looking at 100 million, infusion. So it's going to be a 1-year study, and the primary endpoints are safety and tolerability, right? And that is, of course, looking at any adverse events that occur. And I don't think so. A lot of us actually been using stem cells now. For the ministry is going to get more strict. So a lot of us are using stem cells in aging, and we find that actually they're very safe. They're very tolerated, never have any issues, right? And the secondary endpoints, of course, our study we're going to do a lot of evaluation before and after, right? From a full clinical evaluation to hormones, blood profile, body composition, bone density, and a whole lot of aging index, from all sort of quality of life index as a whole list that we go through. Part of it will include even a physiotherapy and occupational therapy assessment before and after, the strength assessment before, after, and of course looking at all the blood profile before and after. So hopefully, if we get uh, the ethics committee to agree to this study, we hope to launch it soon, early next year, and then at least see whether one, stem cells are safe, which I always believe will be safe. Second, is there any sort of improvement? Can we also get the same results that the group in Miami School of Miller, did? We also can show that stem cells can actually slow down aging, improve frailty and sarcopenia, which is very exciting, because I think in the future stem cells will be cheaper. They're expensive now, but I think stem cells will be cheaper. And I think in the long run, if we can prevent sarcopenia and we can prevent things like frailty, the long-term cost is even much, much cheaper for the whole country, right? Not only is for the person, because today we see elderly people who are not aging well, the quality of life is very bad, right? So they have quantity, but there's very little poor, a lot of poor quality. We see that every day, people are not aging well. They're already having chronic diseases. Then on top of it, they get frailty and sarcopenia. They do not do well, And these are the people who succumb to disease much earlier, and even if they survive, their quality of life is poor. So maybe something like, stem cells might be one of the answers to slow down the aging process, prevent frailty, and also prevent sarcopenia. And like I said, improve the immune function. That's what I hope we can show one day in the future. And I think hopefully by then stem cells will be much cheaper, that everyone can be using it. It'll be one of the treatments that we use for people who are older, right? And like what the WHO motto says, prevent the preventable and delay the inevitable, right? We all will go one day, but we have to go in, with quality of life. We want to be active right to the end, right? We don't want to suffer and have a lot of disease and sickness and be bedridden or wheelchair bound for the last 10, 15 years of our life. So with that, I hope that this will be one of the answers. But when I end here, I just want to tell you that lifestyle still is the foundation. Lifestyle is still the key, right? All these other things will support you, will help you age better. But without the right lifestyle, you will still succumb to disease. So lifestyle is the key, and the rest will hopefully come and help you age better and to prevent sarcopenia and frailty. Thank you.
Questions from any of the online viewers? We don't know anybody on the floor has questions, but while waiting for some questions, can I just ask you, Rafan, you're using an extrinsic system of stem cells to try to rejuvenate that's within ourselves. Has there been any studies to show whether intrinsically through the neuroendocrine axis, is it possible to stimulate our stem cells by themselves without dependent on extrinsic factors?
I think that's what they shown that exercise, the right nutrition, certain supplements, that can stimulate your natural stem cells. Ultimately, I believe your stem cells, there's a number, that means a finite number. After that, you cannot produce anymore. That means your body can only produce so much, and after a while, you still will have a decrease in the number of stem cells, and also the way they act because they are also aging. So they might not be as functionally good as when they were much younger. So that's why I think it will still catch up with us as we get older. The number of cells will decrease and they might not function as properly as before. That's why all these things about looking, and when you look at allogenic cells, you're looking at young cells. Most of the allogenic mesenchymal stem cells are taken from baby cots down, cotton jelly. So these are young cells that we actually taking, and all our cells will have, they will, what they call passage, they will break down, they go, so there's a passage that they go through, and then most of our cells will go through, as they duplicate themselves up to about maybe 25 times and then they die off. So we take a young cell that is probably passage 2 to 5. That means they're still young, very young cells, and this is what we infuse. So this probably theory is that give you young cells, they're younger, they can go and help to repair, whereas your own natural cells might not be used up by the body. Now, how this works, I'm also not sure. How does the body know that, okay, now the young cells in the body that has been given to this person, and they go and help to repair, and whether your own cells are not used anymore. So these are some of the things that we have to wait and see, whether this is how the body works. We're not sure. I think we are still very new with stem cell research. Uh, we are doing, a lot of people everywhere in the world are doing stem cells. A lot of things are said that we can, some people claim the stem cell can like a magic cure. I don't think so that will happen. But I think with the right lifestyle, stem cells are just like what we used to do. Remember, you and I used to talk about growth hormone many years ago.
Yes, yes.
Dr. White?
Yes.
And I think certain people did benefit given the growth hormone. Certain people didn't because I think it was their lifestyle, right? You're not having a healthy lifestyle, you're not exercising, no nutrition, very bad, and then you go and take a growth hormone, it's just going to make things worse. But if you, someone who is doing all the right things and you just take a little bit of growth hormone, build up the muscle, doing it correctly, doing it the right way, I think it will really benefit you, whether it's testosterone or whatever that bioidentical. So doing it correctly, doing it the right doses is the right thing. Same thing I think going to happen is stem cells. They're not going to be the magic cure, but they will support your, those people who are still aging, they want to maintain their physique, they are doing the right things, then stem cells might help benefit to repair some of the damage that's going on in the body. I think that's how this will work.
There's another question which is what I was trying to lead to. The question is, are any natural stimulators of stem cells which you can suggest?
I think there are some that people are saying that there are certain supplements out there that will help to stimulate the release of stem cells from your own body. I myself have not much experience with that.
Yeah, so that's why you answered that in your earlier comment, that if the stem cells are already old, that you can't do anything much to it. But my personal thing is, I take from nerve surgery, which I'm very familiar with. We said that nerves cannot reproduce, but recently we found that neurons can reproduce in the adult life, And there's a fantastic video from A-Star, one of the research centers in Singapore, showing a nerve cell duplicating in an adult rat. So my question is, because as you mentioned, you showed in the earlier part of your lecture how somebody can still remain and look young through whatever strategies that he is using, and I think you rightfully say it's not a silver bullet that is going to be the one single answer for everything. So, from my understanding of the brain, I've been reading a lot about neuroscience because I think we are wasting time in the periphery. We should go back to the brain, and the brain's effector is just not the motor response, but is also, it's a chemical response. We know that, the neuroendocrine axis. But can that effect itself through the whatever stem cells that are still there and the immunological cells to stimulate them to work better. So just yeah.
I think that's very good point. I wish we could actually find more research into this and look at finding whether our natural stem cells can be improved by any means.
Yeah.
I think not much research into that area
Yeah.
anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm
The only
throwing
people
it to you
yeah,
for you to look
yeah,
for you to look at it. I think people like you who are passionate who are looking at research, because I think the center of the universe is the brain, the mind, and the brain, the mind. So
totally, yeah.
yeah, so I remember all of us have seen this image of this Chinese elderly guy, the ugly looking fella, and the next moment he becomes an elderly model. He's in the 70s, he's built, and it's just not his physique, his whole attitude changed. To me, that's how it came from a central purpose. And I think maybe something that we need to work with the neurologists to look at the functional MRIs and the biological markers. And these are simple studies, that non-invasive. I think we can look at it. Because I still think, let's go back to the brain. Because let's go back and look at the sages. If you look at some of the guys who are, the saints, the sadhus and all that, 110, 120 years they're living, and you look at their lifestyle. I mean, they don't look like Mr. Universe, but what I'm saying, they are obviously they don't need stem cells. Something is happening in their body, and that's maybe a sample that you can look at. And I think it is a lot got to do with the
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I used to stay next to Batu Caves, Batu Caves, and I used to be surprised when all these people, some of them are my friends, who used to go and carry discovery on their body. They put nails here, put nails there, everywhere. They put nails, and 3 days later they are totally recovered. There's no any wound or any infection or any scar there, nothing, totally recovered. And I think that's of course they say it's because of prayers and all that, but I think a lot to do with the mind. The mind can heal itself, the body heals itself, and whether that is where the body actually increases the stem cells in their own body, and that was a repairs, because that's what stem cells do. So yeah, I think a lot of research is more into allogenic stem cells and exogenous stem cells. I think there's nothing like most studies at all to look at whether we ourselves can improve our own stem cells. I think that's a very good area we should really look at.
Yeah.
Totally
I don't think it's going to be very expensive. It actually can be done quite simply. Because if you look at, I'm just going back to molecular level. Now you're talking at a cellular level. I'm going down to chemical level and within the cell itself. So how does a stem cell express itself? Is to RNA, is through the production of proteins and chemicals. So how the nerves affect it, I believe, would be the nerves receptors will then alter the chemical and the production of RNAs, then that produces the whatever the outcome, the what I call an effector agent to produce that wellness, the health, whatever it is. And that's how because when you look at some of these fellas, they never took anything extrinsic, so anything you can say is they are intrinsic. They don't give a shit about what's happening in the universe. They are there. So I hope you will look into this.
Yeah, that's something really interesting. I mean, just like the people in blue zones, they have a total lifestyle.
Yes.
That talks of the mind, body, spirit, and that's why they age very well. So it's maybe something that they're doing that is causing their own body to recover and to heal. Yeah, definitely something that we should really look at. Yeah.
Great. The other one is comments on apple stem cells in most nutritional products. Can you comment on it?
I got no idea. I mean, as far as we know, stem cells are life cells. These are cells that when we talk of research in stem cells or whatever cells, they are life cells. They are life. You inject a life cell into the body. And so I don't know how an apple stem cell can actually help in any way. But I don't know whether sometimes do they work or is it just advertising gimmick just to use stem cells and the word apple there. I have no idea how it works, because we don't use any of this in any of our studies and all that.
How do you overcome the immunological response to a cell being introduced intravenously? Are they washed? They're incompetent? Or?
So interestingly, MSCs are immunogenic. That means they will not cause any
Okay.
reaction. Apart from
Right.
the hemopoietic ones, which you have to match and all those things,
Uh,
how nature has made it that MSCs are immunogenic. That means you can take from anybody and give anyone, and nothing happens to you.
okay.
So that is nature itself has done that.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. So maybe there is some truth with all this Chinese philosophy of look for a young person and marry a young, you will live long. So is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I mean, that maybe give you more the purpose part of it. But remember Chinese, they also used to take a blood from a young person and give to emperors.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of their concepts of giving them some young stem cells anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, for aged people, how active is considered physically active? It's a bit outside of your area, but you're a geriatrician, and I'm sure.
I think the most important thing is to be active physically, but again, I mean, you have to listen to your body. I'm totally against severe exercise or strenuous exercise as you get older, unless you're already someone who's very fit and maintaining it, fair enough. But if you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s and starting exercise for the first time, I would stick to something more mild to moderate exercise, focusing a bit on cardio, a bit on strengthening, flexibility and core muscles. These are the areas where you get. Because a lot of times people only talk of cardiorespiratory. That means they do walking, this thing. But I find they actually are very poor balance. They are very muscles are atrophied, so they are sarcopenia and frail. And in the end, though they have cardiorespiratory might be okay, they are physically okay, but they still have tendency to fall and have a problem with fractures. So I think a lot of people just focus on one part, which is good. Cardiorespiratory is, just walking is fantastic for you, keeping that up. But you must add in a bit of strengthening exercises, a bit of balance, flexibility exercises. So these are important. Falls are a big problem in the elderly, I think. And then same thing with osteoporosis and muscle atrophy, sarcopenia. So all these things are, sometimes people don't realize that this is also important part as we age. Most people after 60 stop exercising anyway. Most people think, sudah tua, I'm old already, cannot exercise, which is totally wrong. Unless you're very fit, I wouldn't go severe exercise. Though people I know in their 80s, 90s still run marathons because maybe they have maintained it. But I would actually go for mild to moderate exercise as we get older. But exercise you must maintain, very important.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. And one of the benefits of for me personally, the pandemic was I never exercised. I'm a lazy fella. But in Singapore, the only way you can go out from the house, go every day. And I slowly built myself up, and I was doing 20 kilometers a day, which is quite. My back gave way, so now I have to stop. So I think I overdid it, because a friend and I, we were competing with each other. He was doing 19, so I did 20, and So I think one has to be listen to your body, as you say. It's a very personal thing. Any last words from you, Rajbans, before I think we got 2 more minutes if you want to say something?
I mean, I think it's like this thing, healthy aging is not just about external things. A lot depends on, like you used the word intrinsic. So I would just go back, and if you have the time, I don't know whether there are any talks on the last healthy aging conference. You had a great talk on blue zones. Go back and see the blue zones again. See what they do. The 10 things that they do in the blue zones, from the mind to the spirit to the purpose and all those things, up on nutrition, exercise, and everything. Go back and look at those 10 things and maybe try to incorporate that into your life. I think if you can follow the simple things that the people in the blue zones do, I think you and I also age better. And then all these extra things, whether it's supplements or bioidentical hormones or stem cells or whatever else comes in the future, will just support our, our foundation, which is our lifestyle.
Hey, excellent. I think I'd like to thank you again for a fantastic lecture. I really hope you get that research off the ground soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, recently I have been involved with the NMER. My God, it is a horrendous process, but it's a necessary process. I think, especially with your kind of research, which is quite. I'm helping somebody with social health and social science research. Even that was quite difficult. And then being non-Malaysian, we have to go through EPU, which is another big headache. So, but yeah, I hope you get it. I look forward to reading the results. But think about, sometimes you don't have to do high flung stuff. I just want you to try and think about, because you got the population, using the mind and finding ways to study that. I think will be very interesting.
I think a good idea. I must start thinking about that. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Excellent. So, thanks everybody. If there's nobody else, I don't see any other questions on the board. It is 5:30, right on time. Thank you, Rashman, once again. Great to see you, man. You get younger and younger. Don't take so much of stem cells, okay?
Okay, but wait, let the study finish, then we'll see.
Okay, great. All right, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye. See you all tomorrow.